In Trump's America, science isn't just ignored, it's under attack. From pandemics to climate change, evidence-based experts are being sidelined in favor of politics and profit. But now, the consequences are crashing down. Lives are being lost, emergency systems are breaking, and in an absolutely shocking moment, a Florida meteorologist decided they couldn't stay silent any longer. How's it going, everybody? Hunter Avalone here with Occupy Democrats. Welcome back to another video. Trump's escalating attacks on science aren't just dangerous, they're actually deadly. First, let's talk about FEMA, the agency we rely on to respond when disaster strikes. Well, recently FEMA staff were left baffled after the head of the department said he was unaware of U.S. hurricane season. Staff of the Federal Emergency Management Agency were left baffled on Monday after the head of the U.S. Disaster Agency said he had not been aware the country has a hurricane season, according to 4 sources familiar with the situation. The remark was made during a briefing by David Richardson, who has led FEMA since early May. It was not clear to staff whether he meant it literally as a joke or in some other context. Wow, we have fallen so far from Trump surrounding himself with the best people. A spokesperson for the department tried to claim it was a joke. However, this didn't stop widespread concern that the departures of top FEMA officials, staff cuts, and reductions in hurricane preparations will leave the agency ill-prepared for a storm season forecast to be above normal. And what's even worse, this guy has absolutely no disaster response experience. So sure, he might be claiming he was just joking around, but I don't really believe it. This guy is clearly just a clown, whether he's trying to be one or not. And yeah, that's shocking. However, it pales in comparison to the human cost we're about to see. In a recent heartbreaking moment, an MSNBC host was brought to tears when discussing how Trump's attacks on science are now costing us the lives of children.
Then along came President Trump and his freeze on most humanitarian aid in January. How could a 5-year-old orphan possibly obtain medicine on his own? Evan weakened and soon died of an opportunistic infection. Marco Rubio told the House committee, no children are dying on my watch. Evan died on his watch. Evans of all ages are dying on Marco Rubio's watch, and no one is counting, and so we don't know.
This right here is what happens when science becomes a political enemy. Still, however, that's not the end of it. That's right, in a recent stunning moment, a Florida meteorologist interrupted his own segment to expose Donald Trump.
Listen, I've been on this, since 8 o'clock this morning on social media, and there is a lot of anxiety out there because you don't see it turning. Right? When is it going to turn? John, it's not turning. It's coming straight to us. It's going to turn. All right? The turn was never forecast to be on Sunday. The turn isn't even on Monday morning. The turn will come Monday afternoon, Monday evening, into Tuesday. Remember that? That was about 6 years ago. That was Hurricane Dorian, as it was absolutely devastating the northwest Bahamas as a Category 5, sat over that region for 2 days. It was headed straight west. Lots of people in Florida were concerned the hurricane was heading here. And as you've grown accustomed to my presentations over my 34 years in South Florida newscasts, confidently, I went on TV and I told you, it's going to turn. You don't need to worry. It is going to turn. And I am here to tell you that I am not sure I can do that this year because of the gutting, the sledgehammer attack on science in general, and I could talk about that for a long, long time, and how that is affecting the U.S. Leadership in science over many years, and how we're losing that leadership, and this is a multi-generational impact on science in this country, all right? But specifically, let's talk about the federal government cuts to the National Weather Service and to NOAA. Did you know that Central and South Florida National Weather Service offices are currently basically 20 to 40% understaffed. From Tampa to Key West, including the Miami office, 20 to 40% understaffed. Now, this type of staffing shortage is having impacts across the nation because there's been a nearly 20% reduction in weather balloon releases, launches, that carry those radiosondes. And what we're starting to see is that the quality of the forecasts is becoming degraded. There's also a chance, because of some of these cuts, that NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft will not be able to fly this year, and with less reconnaissance missions, we may be flying blind, and we may not exactly know how strong a hurricane is before it reaches the coastline, like happened a couple of years ago in Hurricane Otis in Acapulco, Mexico. So I was asked to talk about this today. I'm glad I was. I just want you to know that what you need to do is call your representatives and make sure that these cuts are stopped. Back to you.
That right there is a local meteorologist mid-segment halting the broadcast to issue a public warning. Not about a storm, but about how Trump's policies are dismantling the systems that predict them. Trump's disregard for science is no longer just theoretical. It's measurable in broken systems, abandoned programs, and grieving families. From the top of FEMA to the floor of a local weather station, the cracks are impossible to ignore. And when even the weather forecast becomes a political battleground, you know the storm is no longer just coming, it's already here.